best of Arizona, right? Very good. Thank you, AJ, one more time again. There you go. Without AJ's support, we couldn't bring this to you. So we really, really appreciate all that they do. Please make sure that you always remember that AJ's also won Best Takeout, if you didn't hear me say that earlier. They really do a fabulous job. Well, if you missed any of the earlier demonstrations, I do want to let you know, some of you have walked in with the ad, we will be doing this again with all three chefs at the AJ store on Val Vista and Baseline. It will start again at 11 o'clock, same time, and all three chefs will be there again next Saturday. Again, next Saturday. So come enjoy the part about Josh. Joshua was, do you like Josh or Joshua?
Either or is fine.
Okay.
I have a funny story about that. Once I actually worked in a kitchen where there were 3 Joshes.
Uh-huh.
And so we all had to be assigned different names. The first guy who started there was Josh, number 2 was Joshua, and I was JT.
Oh, is
but
it?
the waiters would stand at the end of the kitchen and yell, "Hey Josh!" And all 3 or 4 of us would turn around and they thought that was really funny. 7:30 on a Saturday night.
Joshua and War Games.
So we'll call him JT, I guess, for right now.
Right.
He is Arizona raised. JT became enamored with food at an early age. As a child, he was able to say, you were able to say breakfast, ladies. The hobby became quickly developed into a passion, and during his junior year, JT was already cooking professionally at a corporate Italian restaurant. But he had his sights on fine dining. By the time he graduated from high school, JT landed a spot at Tarbell's. Many of our chefs, through our demonstrations, kind of come up through Tarbell's. He spent 5 years as a line cook and sous chef, developing his skills until his thirst for more took him to San Francisco. Soon after, the owner of Cafe Katie sent him to Japan to open Cafe California, a Tokyo offshoot of Cafe Katie in the Miyako Hotel. When he returned to the States, JT took a job as the executive chef at his old stomping grounds, Tarbell's, which was followed by stints as an executive chef at North Kierland Commons and a dual restaurant in Gilbert. He opened Posh Restaurant on New Year's Eve. What a
Great first day.
Yeah, New Year's Eve in 2008, and has been refining the concept since, hiring the finest group of professionals in the Valley. JT is a regular guest host on a show that's called Into the Soup with Heidi Lee, and has appeared on Good Morning Arizona, Foodies Live, and NBC and Fox in Arizona. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over, but we're first going to turn on his mic. I can already tell he's going to be a loud talker, but it will be good.
All right.
So I think you are down here. There we go. And sometimes it just takes a little bit to
No problem. Can we hear me? That's good?
No.
There. I can bypass this because I used to act in high school.
Okay.
I can be loud without a
Okay.
microphone.
Just make sure you can hear it.
Got it. If anybody for some reason can't hear me at all, just do one of these and I'll start talking a little louder, but usually I can keep this going. Alright, so, Posh. I have menus here. I'll give a brief explanation. Then we're going to talk about demystifying some Japanese food. Japanese food, after my time in Japan, has become one of my favorite passions, and it does play into the menu or lack thereof at Posh from time to time. We're not all Japanese, we just have some Japanese influences here and there. Posh, as I said, is located on the west side of Scottsdale Road in the Optima Camel View building. We face the road at the ground level of that beautiful building that was built there in Old Town. Here I have sample wine lists, and then I have a sample non-menu. What you do at Posh when you sit down is we serve you a seasonal multi-course tasting menu. The problem is that over the years with multi-course tasting menus from famous chefs all over the world, is they all say the same thing on the bottom. Must be ordered by entire table, no substitutions please. But what if you don't like goat cheese? Does that mean you can't have the tasting menu? That's stupid. So here, raw fish are okay. After that, tell us anything else. You allergic to peanuts? Write it down there. You don't like beets or goat cheese? Write it down there. Then the kitchen just takes that. 7 courses for you. The goal, if you come in as a table of 2, 3, 4 people, is to get as much variety as possible. So if you all sit down and order 6 courses, and everybody leaves it pretty much open game, the goal is to try to get anywhere from 20 to 24 different dishes in front of the whole table. So it's kind of an interesting way to see some variety and try new things. It's also accommodative if you have some dietary restrictions. Now this gentleman right here was saying his wife eats gluten-free and has some other food allergies.
He does.
Let us know. If you let us know when you make the reservation, we can get even more showy. But if you have a friend who is a vegan, come on in. We can take care of it. We have never in 3+ years had somebody that we couldn't figure out how to make a decent meal for, and usually much better than decent. Believe Japanese food pretty much as sushi. As of all the different types of Japanese cuisine, just like there's many different types of American cuisine, that's the one that has become the most popular and come to the forefront. But what if you don't like raw fish? There's plenty of people who don't like raw fish, and there's nothing wrong with not liking raw fish. It takes a long time to get used to that texture and the flavor. And sometimes it takes a hard time to get this past the idea of eating raw fish, especially if you grew up in a place that maybe didn't have a lot of fresh fish, right? So, Japanese cuisine is very seasonal, like a lot of what people call California cuisine. Very fresh, very straightforward, very plain, not very manipulated, with the exception of the fact that it's a lot of ingredients that we've never seen before. It's a very long ways away. The Japanese people secluded themselves for 5,000 years without talking to any of their neighbors. So they established many customs, traits, habits, and lifestyles, as well as their style of cuisine, with no influence from the outside world. So we're going to explore today kind of a version of shrimp cocktail made with a classic Japanese soup base that can then be used as a sauce for lots of different things. Now, you'll see some strange ingredients when you go to Asian supermarkets. And you'll notice I have things in plastic jars with lids. A lot of these, their freshness is based on not exposing them to too much air. Dried ingredients, pickled ingredients, things that need to be soaked in water, and then those waters turn into broths real quickly. One of the most common we have here is bonito flakes. This is what I like to call Japanese bacon or fish bacon. It looks not unlike what you would feed your goldfish. It's very similar as well, only tastes much better. This is a bonito, which is a skipjack fish that has been dried and smoked, similar to how bacon is dried and smoked. And it smells just like bacon, except like it's made from fish. This is used to season an enormous amount of Japanese products. The second most important thing is called kombu. Looks like dried seaweed, and that's exactly what it is. Kombu adds a natural richness and sweetness to almost everything that is Japanese. We use chicken stock in this country. They make something called dashi. Dashi is seaweed and fish flakes, seaweed and mushrooms, seaweed and ginger, but it's always seaweed somewhere along the line. This is seaweed that's washed up on the shore in a very specific part of the North Islands. It's dried on the beach in the sun, and there's a ton of nutrients in this seaweed that dries, comes to the surface, and forms this powdery bloom. That's why we don't have it open yet, because we're going to use its freshness right out of the package. See how it has a white powder? That's where a lot of the flavor is. In Japanese cuisine, the earliest forms of sushi, there are mineral salts that have deposited themselves on the outside of this seaweed here. That's that white powdery substance you see. You guys want to pass it around and feel it? And then go ahead and just hang them over the side of your rimmed glass there. Just notice how